and anti-government extremists.
In a corner of economically pained Missouri, J.J. McNabb and Bob Potter.
But driving around with an AK-47 was normal for them.
Was it really?
Americans who've made it their mission to track sovereign citizens.
You can't tell me that's not staged. Talking about the AK-47.
A lot of what they say is what a lot of Americans believe. I think we are overtaxed, and I think the government has too much control of our life. But I don't take it to that extreme to want to kill innocent police officers.
Or your own son, and I'm accusing you of that.
Just doing their job on the street.
Hello, 1-1, where's your emergency? Exit 275 on 40.
Bob Potter, once an Arkansas police chief, has a good reason for his curiosity about sovereigns.
Look at this video camera. Why is it so zoomed in? Pretty good shots, eh?
May 20th, 2010. A traffic stop in West Memphis, Arkansas. Two of his officers pull over a vehicle with the ubiquitous phony plates. The driver, Jerry Kane, hands the first officer, Bill Evans, an odd stack of documents, as freemen and sovereigns do.
Conveniently reading it right in front of the camera. Now he's about to step away and wonder what he might be talking to this young boy's father about.
Officer Evans signals for his partner to help.
It's off camera. Bill has Jerry Kane, the father, in the back talking with him. Brandon is focused on the paperwork, and a 16-year-old kid gets out with an AK-47. Joe Kane shoots Bill Evans 11 times. He falls in a ditch. As Brandon
11 times.
takes cover behind his car, the hood of his car, the kid shoots over the hood of the car. The bullets ricochet and caught him on the chin and takes the back of his head off. And he's thrown.
Don't cry.
Back on the pavement.
Yes, I'm directly saying that this man is affiliated or is acting with some other organization of some sort that killed his son. Maybe he is unaware, maybe he is an advocate, but either way, this is a completely staged scene. These officers were meant to be killed, and they were not killed necessarily by that young boy with the AK-47. This is JFK meets 9/11.
As Chief Potter hears officers are down, he races to the scene. Moments later, that's him in the white shirt, first seeing Bill Evans in the ditch, then being warned not to go further, because the second officer, dead on the pavement, is his son, Brandon Potter.
I stood over him in disbelief. And I knew that I had some decisions to make as a chief and as a father. And I did not know what to do at that point.
Instead, he created the Southern Poverty Law Center so that all of this information is going worldwide at an incredible rate. Thank you for all the publicity. I hope people do their research and don't just believe what they see on the mainstream news.
My entire life changed forever the second I saw him. Jerry and Joe Kane were finally stopped for good after they killed my son in this parking that day.
Jerry and Joe Kane were killed in a shootout with police just a few hours later. Bob Potter now repeats this story in excruciating detail to police forces all across the United States and Canada. This is the cautionary tale. But some Canadian cops still wonder if it could ever get that bad with Canadian Freemen. An undercover cop from Guelph, Ontario, who's met more than a few, been burdened by their bizarre paperwork, thinks the annoyance might end there.
The level of violence is not the same, but the Freemen have been identified as being more left of center, far more liberal than the militia and whatnot that you see down in the States.
Different cultures, certainly different gun cultures, but will that blunt the force?
Canada has to be aware of what's happening.
J.J. McNabb doesn't think so. She's a tax fraud investigator who often infiltrates online both Freeman and sovereign groups. Then she coaches cops on what to watch for.
There are no borders. When I go online and I watch people interact between Canada and the United States, people don't differentiate. They use whatever they think will get them what they want.
Just like everybody else, including the government.
She sees more parallels than language. Sovereigns are notorious for getting back at officials they don't like with a barrage of lawsuits, liens filed against their houses, what the FBI calls paper terrorism. She says Freemen do it too, and she warns there's a dangerous next step.
Now they're into these small acts of basically, saying go away to the government, which is driver's license, which is car registration, maybe it's property taxes. When those don't work, acts of violence are the next.
What meant
Anybody who gets rid of all their stuff for their birth certificate and legal fiction, it doesn't mean you're being confrontational. Like, what's the difference? You can opt out, but there's no sense in necessarily doing so. And what that redhead just said about it escalating is ridiculous.
he may not realize is that there has already been some Freeman violence in this country. May 2006.
This story, Rodney King, this poor man, they would have killed him.
15-hour standoff with police in a home in Jasper, Ontario. Rodney King, a Freeman who'd fought against authorities, shot and wounded a police officer. In the house, a cache of weapons. A one-off or warning of what's to come? McNabb says online chatter is increasingly aggressive. She's starting to record cases of Canadian police being assaulted and judges threatened. So all of that
Birkenhead!
Sounds like an escalation. It does. Yes.
Excess 87.
Go on a CK1.
And look at what she and Bob Podert say are signs of Freemen testing their limits.
537 Papa Hotel Fox.
I want an iPad, just like that. This video is hilarious. Please. Whatever, just watch the whole video.
Another traffic stop, May 2010, British Columbia.
The officer
driver
really
doesn't
doesn't know
wait
what's
for
going
the
on.
cop. Seems to want to reach for something.
Whoa!
What worries you here?
Well, him getting an AK-47 or some weapon out.
How you doing?
What? You're not in uniform. You're not a peace officer. This is common law jurisdiction. You're interrupting my right to travel.
Thankfully, there's no gun,
Walk in my vehicle.
Mr. Mitchell.
Don't touch me.
You're being charged with refusal.
but there is a good 15 minutes of arguing.
Of bullying by the cop.
I'm only cooperating under protest of duress. I'm demanding my...
Deep into the tape, a scuffle, and finally a call for backup.
Ow!
Take him back. He's not going anywhere.
Okay.
Consider yourself warned, Canada, is Poder's thought.
What stands in my mind over everything watching this video is how the movement has progressed in Canada. And some Canadians don't think it's that bad, that it's not a threat. That is a threat.
You're a threat.